Welcome everyone to our virtual event about sunny Portugal. I really hope that tonight you will feel warmed as you're watching the videos and looking at some of the photos of Portugal. And I really hope that it's going to entice you to want to go to Portugal because Portugal should be on your bucket list. First off, we're going to hear from Inez Almeida Garrett. And Inez is the Director of Tourism for Portugal. She recorded a little greeting video, and the very beginning of the video got cut off. So I wanted you to know that her name is Inez, and she's a lovely, lovely person, and she's going to welcome you to Portugal.
And I'm here today just to give you some information and to welcome you all to Portugal, my country. I would like to show you just a small presentation because I think it's always so much easier when we can see some images. Okay, so first, this is Portugal. We have a mild climate all year round. We have 300 days of sunshine per year. So actually, every time you decide you want to go, the weather should be good. We have 850 kilometers of beach that are bathed by the Atlantic Ocean, and we are the perfect tourism destination all year round. But the best thing about us, it's really our people. We are nice, and usually when you meet someone on the street, they will do the extra mile just to help you get to where you want to go. The majority of us speaks English, and the ones that don't really speak, they make an effort in order to connect with you. This is our country. There are 5 regions in mainland Portugal, and I would emphasize Porto and North, coming down south center of Portugal, Lisbon, Alentejo, and Algarve. And I really hope that on this trip you will have the time to visit all of them. And of course, make sure you try the pastel de nata, the fresh seafood, the olive oils, and you try the different kind of wines that we have. In these pictures, you can see amazing places like the Pena Palace in Sintra, the landscape in Alentejo, the Douro Valley, and the Sardines. If you are in Lisbon, make sure you listen to some fado music. But I will leave you now with a video that will give you just some idea.
7,353 kilometers of distance never felt so short. It's history, physics, geography, chemistry, science, close to the heart. An ocean of growing harmonies connecting us for centuries, narrowing the distance and bringing together 2 cultures that share so much. We've built bridges that bring us closer. Our coasts facing each other, separated at birth and united through passion. Portugal's millennial lines and shapes are close to your contemporary approach in architecture, making our resemblances and symbiosis rock solid. We both dance to the same rhythms and embrace an ever-bursting and frantic musical scene. And our romantic approach to life is close to the way you welcome with an open mind and an open heart, setting us as historical melting pots of folklore and diversity. This bonding, this natural intersection of history is something to treasure and nurture. Something close to a dream, because ties like this are what makes life meaningful. And relationships like this are to be kept forever close to us.
We have good food, great wine, different landscapes in just a short distance away, lots of leisure activities, and a unique cultural heritage that you can enjoy, where tradition and modernity blend together in perfect harmony. I really hope that you can enjoy Portugal and love it as much as I do. I'm pretty sure everyone will welcome you with open arms and a smile on our face. Have fun. Thank you.
Okay, so that was just a little introduction from Inez Almeida, and again, I'm going to share my screen, and this time you're going to hear from. Let me see. You're going to hear from Aaron Bainton, who is actually one of my associates, and Aaron has been to Portugal, and he brings a really unique perspective. So I asked him if he would share five highlights of Portugal, the top five things that he thinks are Portuguese highlights. And I just thought you might enjoy looking at and listening to Aaron as opposed to me, and you'll see why in a minute.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aaron Bainton. I am one of Judith's associates, so I work with Judith as a travel advisor. But she's asked me to have a chat with you guys today, give my perspective on Portugal, because I actually used to be the former business development manager for Central Ontario and Manitoba with Colette. And that is who this wonderful tour to sunny Portugal has been booked in with. So I had the pleasure, I guess it was last year in November, of traveling over to Portugal and doing kind of a modified version of the itinerary that you're going to be doing here. It's just not one that typically runs later on in November when I traveled there, so I didn't get to actually try the tour itself, but I tried to be as close to it while I was doing my own self-guided adventure through the region. So I just wanted to share some of my top five highlights to why Portugal needs to be a destination on your list. First and foremost, I mean, it's affordable. It is a value destination through and through, whether that's the pricing of the flights, whether it's the pricing of the tour, whether it's the local food and experiences that you have in destination. It's so affordable to do something like this and to explore Europe. You know, it's not that far away if you think about it. About 7.5 hour flight just into Lisbon, which, again, what an amazing city. I mean, it blends, both old and new. You've got obviously those winding streets that Europe is so well known for, but they do a really good job of integrating, sustainable modes of transportation that can get you around the city. So there's funicular cable cars, there is electric tramways as well too that kind of get you in and around. So if you have a pass, if you have the Lisbon Pass, which is essentially like a metro card to get you around the city, you can hop on, hop off, tap on the subway, tap on a bus, and just kind of zigzag around quite quickly and quite easily, which is really nice. I think accessibility is, a huge draw for a destination like that, especially in Europe, where cobblestone streets and narrow roadways are kind of the norm, and it can sometimes be difficult to get yourself around in a vehicle, driving and whatnot. This allows you that freedom and flexibility to just kind of get out there and explore. And what's nice about a Colette tour is that you've got, those prescribed instances where you're going to be with the group and where you're going to be doing things with the group, but then you also balance in some of that free time where you can get out and you can explore. So I think being in a destination like Lisbon that allows you that flexibility to kind of pick up and, go check out down by the water, or go check out, a cathedral on the inner of the city, or maybe a lookout vista or something like that in your own time. Very, very easy to do, very easy to kind of get yourself around as well. Just a couple highlights in Lisbon specifically, because I'm a history geek, so any destination that is full of, that rich historical tradition draws me in. And what's really nice about Lisbon specifically is that a lot of the old palaces, a lot of the monuments that were created by the kings and queens of the past have now been turned into almost like archaeological sites or museums that are accessible to the public, right? Now, just a quick tip. If it's Monday, don't expect to get into anything. Monday is essentially like their Sunday. right? So Monday, pretty much everything is closed. You'll have restaurants and whatnot that you can get into, but a lot of those sites, museums, and otherwise, they're going to be closed. So if you're there, a couple days before, a couple days after, just plan that in your free time. If there is something that you want to check out, just make sure that it's not on a Monday, or if it is on a Monday, just make sure that it's open. All right. So another highlight for me, which I think that you actually do experience in Lisbon as well too, would be fado music. All right, so fado is a really old tradition, right? It's a longing. The singing comes from this deep-seated emotional place. It's usually a female singer, and she's singing this story, this passionate story. And even though I don't speak Portuguese, even though I couldn't necessarily understand what she was saying, you can understand the emotion that's being conveyed behind everything. So, really, really unique experience. I believe that it's offered as an optional excursion, if I'm not mistaken, on this particular tour, but I would say if you've got the opportunity, include it. It's well worth it. I believe that they do dinner and a show, and you get to experience something that is so endemic to this particular region, and continues to kind of build on that rich cultural tradition. As well too, I'm a big fan of kind of how it's made, whether it's the show, on Discovery Channel, or just kind of teasing out those details of production and how something's created. So I believe there's two experiences. One, cork factory. Really, really interesting. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Portugal actually exports 60% of the world's corks. So they're very similar in that regard to Canada with its maple syrup, where we export about 90% of the world's maple syrup, right? So learning about that tradition, learning about the history, how it's, kind of harvested off the oak trees and whatnot, really unique practice there. And then tiles. So, here in Canada, I think everybody's used to brick, siding, maybe stucco every now and then. In Portugal, or at least specifically in the regions that you're going to be visiting, they're concrete structures, right? Very solid structures, but you got to think it's structures by the sea. What's going to rot? Wood's going to rot. You're going to get molds. You're going to get, algae and stuff like that building up. So to keep all the exteriors pretty, right, what they do is cover them in tiles. All right, so I had the pleasure of going to a tile factory, seeing production, seeing how the glazes are kind of done, the intricacy and the patterns and whatnot. And you'll see designs like this all over, right? It's kind of very specific to this part of the world, the Iberian Peninsula. It's North Africa. So if you're in Morocco, if you're in Spain and the Cordoba region, you'll see a lot of these different tiles because it's part of that Iberian region. Right? So learning about the history, learning about the tradition, and then being able to take something like this home is really cool and unique. And while I was actually over there as well too, because I have a dog, and as we know, if you have a dog, they're basically your child. I was fortunate enough to have one of the tile makers create us something like this. So that is a very good representation, I would say, of Miss Murphy Brown, my dog. So really cool, right? So again, you get to see the production, you get to take something back with you that is particular to this region of the world, very interesting, very rich in that specific tradition. I'd like to touch on something else too before I go, the Alentejo region. So you're going to be going into this amazing city called Évora, which is more towards the interior of Portugal. It's an ancient walled city. I believe it's 16th century. So there's an entire wall that encircles the city. But the city itself, or that particular region, has been lived in for thousands of years. Like we're talking, Neolithic sites. There are stone sites like Stonehenge, not to that grand scale necessarily that you get at Stonehenge, but still very, very impressive. And then going into Évora, right in the city center, there's actually a Roman ruin. So you get to see this confluence of different historical periods within a walled city from the 16th century. It's just really, really beautiful. Again, history geek, so I'm going to kind of zero in on stuff like that. But the reason I mention it as well too is not for the history, because again, that's my draw, but for the food culture in this particular region. So this is the Alentejo region, as it's known, and they are known incredibly well for their red wines and the rich, full flavors in the food. So if you have the opportunity, if you do drink red wine, drink it by the gallon. It's phenomenal. Like some of the best red wines that I've had in the world. It's so rich and full bodied. Doesn't give you a headache. Very nice finish on the end. Pairs very well with the foods that they offer, in particular the black pork. So black pork, again, something endemic to this particular region. Really, really unique because, I think I've had pork in many different nations. We've all had pork, pulled pork, and, it's good, but, it's not always melt in your mouth good. This was like melt in your mouth good. And the reason they say it's so good is because the hog itself feeds exclusively on the cork acorn. All right. Now, the cork acorn, when it falls to the ground, breaks open and whatnot, it's got a very rich kind of buttery, herby flavor. And I can say that because I picked one up off the ground, washed it off, obviously, because you're not just going to eat things right off the ground, popped it in my mouth, and you can taste the richness in it. So because that hog exclusively feeds on the acorn, that kind of works its way into the meat. So then you're tasting that in the aftermath and on the finish, which is just, again, it's that chef's kiss. It's some of the best food that I've ever had anywhere. And I will actually leave Judith with a recommendation on a restaurant that if you have the opportunity, if you've got a free night, even if you can go in for lunch, it is so worth it. I left them a 5-star review and a review about yay long, specifically because it was the best food that I ever had. So, I just wanted to share a couple of those things, a couple of the draws and the reasons why, Portugal, I think, is so special. I just had the good fortune of going to the Azores as well, to another region in Portugal, and very similar as well. The people are welcoming, very warm, very affordable. There's really no reason not to go, in my opinion. Very safe, very welcoming destination. So hopefully that might have shed a little bit of light into the destination. If there are any questions that do come through to Judith, I'm happy to answer them, whether it be on the Colette side, whether it be particular to some of the sites that you're going to see. But you're going to have an amazing time, and I can't wait to see all the photos and videos that come out of it. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Okay, that was great. Thanks a lot, Aaron. And I meant to say this at the beginning, and that is, if you have any questions that arise from what you're hearing, either from Inez or from Aaron or from the next person who's going to share, please keep them, write something down or whatever. Your question might be answered, I think, in the next section. But if it's not, we're going to do a Q&A right after this, okay? So our next person that we're going to hear from is Heidi Schnicker. And Heidi is the business development manager for Colette Tours for my region. And she's going to tell us about the itinerary of the Sunny Portugal tour.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Heidi Schnicker, and I'm the Business Development Manager for Central Ontario and Manitoba for Colette. I am so grateful for Judith inviting me here today to do this presentation. I am not live. I am actually in Rhode Island, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where our head office is located, on a conference. So I'm obviously upset that I couldn't be there in person. But thank you to Judith for allowing me to do this presentation for you today. And I hope that you get some inspiration and learn a little bit about Colette, and of course about our Sunny Portugal tour, which I will present today. I have been very fortunate to be with a couple of different companies in my lifetime so far. Colette, I have been with for the last 2 months, but I have had the privilege of being able to travel all over the world. I have been to India and Greece. I've got to experience some of the Christmas markets at night in places like Prague, which is one of my favorite cities. So I do hope that you get some inspiration from this presentation. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask Judith at the end. And she can also contact me if there are any questions that you need specifically answering. So let's talk about sunny Portugal. Of course, this tour date is November 9th, 2025. And it's a tour that takes you along the stunning shoreline of Portugal, including the coastal capital of Lisbon and all the way to the sunny cliffs of the Algarve. So this particular tour, we have an overnight flight, and we always say day one is our overnight flight because we believe that your vacation starts when you leave the destination. Day 2 to 3 will be in Lisbon, day 4 will be in Alvora, and then days 5 and 7 in the Algarve, and then days 8 to 9 will be in Cascais. And it's a classic tour. What this means is this is one of our styles of touring. So classic tour means that the group size will be an average of about 37, a maximum of 44. It's an ideal type of tour that will give you the chance to see the world's iconic destinations. We have preferential access to the sites, which means you get to skip the line and spend more time discovering, and you get to hit all the highlights on their tour. We also like to grade our activity levels. So we have activity levels between 1 and 4, but for this particular one, this is activity level number 2. So activity level 2 is a moderate level, so you can walk up to 2 hours at a relaxed pace. Usually for like a city tour, you can climb at least 2 flights of stairs, and you can really navigate a variety of terrain. So Portugal is, obviously one of the oldest countries in Europe. Please do make sure that you pack the right footwear. There's a lot of cobblestone streets. Definitely not something where you'd be wearing heels very much. So please do make sure that you have some really good footwear and that's comfortable for walking. So Portugal in itself is a small country. It's about 92,000 square kilometers and about 10 million inhabitants. Of course, Lisbon is the capital. The distance from north to south is about 550 kilometers, and from east to west, it's about 200. And it is a UNESCO heritage destination. There's about 17 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Portugal itself. So after our overnight flight, we say hello to Lisbon. And tonight we have a welcome dinner. So it gives you a chance to meet with all of your fellow travelers, talk about what you're excited about, all of the plans, and of course, meet your travel director. So on day 3, because of course, day 1 is when you're flying, day 2 is when you land and you have your welcome dinner. Day 3, you can get to choose how you want to explore Lisbon. It's your choice. So you can either do a bacalhau codfish tour, or you can do a Lisbon walking tour. It's your choice, and it's included. So for the Lisbon walking tour, you get to discover the art and tradition of the Portuguese sidewalks during a locally led walking tour, or you can venture with your tour manager on foot and discover the city through the lens of the businesses and streets and connect with the country's most loved fish, bacalhau, which is salted codfish. I would do either one of these. They both look fabulous. It's a hard choice, but they both operate at the same time. And as I said, they are included, so you can make your choice with your tour manager. After we do those choice on tour, we travel to Belém, where you will see the iconic Belém Tower and the monument to the discoveries. And the Belém Tower sits along the Tagus River, and it's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it functions not only as a fortress, but also functions as an ongoing port for explorers. And then we get to see the facade of the 16th century Geronimo's monastery and learn about the importance of the iconic monastery. And it was built during the Age of Discovery as a symbol of power. And it's great prime example of Gothic style. And it was a UNESCO World Heritage Site as of 1983. So really, really beautiful place to visit. And then that night we have an option. You can do Lisbon night by night, or you can choose to hang out in your hotel room, maybe get some sleep, maybe go shopping, maybe go have some wine. The Lisbon by night is 4 hours. Your transportation's included, and it's 156 Canadian dollars. And it's one of we go to visit Lisbon's most popular fado restaurants, where there's professional performers that will entertain you while you enjoy a wonderful 3-course candlelit dinner of Portuguese cuisine and wine. The next day, we journey to the countryside and we get to visit a local cork factory. And here we learn about the importance of cork and how important it is to the local economy and why Portugal is one of the top producers of cork in the world. And then we journey to Evora. Beautiful town. It's the museum city of Portugal. It's one of the most beautifully preserved medieval towns, and it's a real enchanting place where you get to delve into the past. Some beautiful local architectural works. It's also a really lively university town, and you also get to explore this beautiful medieval walled city and the Roman temple, which is absolutely stunning. And then we start our journey towards the Algarve. And it's about a 2.5-hour drive from Lisbon. And there's lots of towns in this region, such as Faro, which is the capital, Lagos, and Tavira. A few of the most beautiful towns on the Algarve's coastline, with a combination of beautiful sandy beaches and whitewashed houses. And on the way, we actually get to visit a local gin distillery. So we learn how one man took a homemade drink and implemented traditional Portuguese stills and local ingredients to craft this premium gin. And then in the afternoon, we get to indulge in full-bodied wines from the Alentejo region during a winery tour tasting and a light lunch before continuing on our drive. So later, we switch from the rich taste of local wine and spirits for the salty ocean of the Algarve. And we get to explore in the evening this historic resort town of Lagos. It's a bustling port city. Many celebrated voyagers began their explorations from here, and it was actually home to the first school of navigators. And it lies along the riverbank of the Rio Benesafrin with 16th century walls enclosing this beautiful, pretty town. Again, cobblestone streets, make sure you bring the right footwear, and lots of charming plazas and churches. So the next day, you get to experience the entire day. You can experience the Algarve on your own. You will find postcard-worthy beaches with crystal clear waters, stunning cliffs. This picture here is actually the Praia do Camilo, which is widely known as one of the most gorgeous beaches in the Algarve. But keep in mind, in order to reach the beach, you have to climb 200 steps down and, of course, 200 steps back up. So make sure you're prepared for that, but it is worth it once you get down there. It's got beautiful soft sand, and it's actually 2 small beaches that are connected by a tunnel through rocks. If you don't want to do that, then maybe you can do an optional excursion, which is our Algarve's coastal cruise, which is about $65. Your transportation is included, and you can set sail on these beautiful clear blue waters of the Bay of Lagos to experience the stunning Ponta de Piedade, with some of the most beautiful and famous coastal scenery in Portugal. Just be aware that the excursion is subject to operation depending on the weather, and it may operate in the afternoon. And as we continue our journey, we venture along the coast to discover the importance of the sardine canning industry in the Algarve. And then we continue to Monchique, which is a mountain village snuggled within a rich landscape. And we learn about the secrets of regional breads and fruits. And then we enjoy a savory picnic lunch and sample freshly prepared seasonal and local specialties from the Algarve. And then we get to return to Lagos for an evening at leisure. So lots of time to be able to experience the city and see it at night, which is just stunning. The next day, we actually head towards the Portuguese Riviera, and we make a stop in Setúbal, which is a colorful industrial city and one of Southern Europe's best kept secrets. And we see the Mercado, which is the farmer's market, which is considered to be one of the best fish markets in the world, but it's also rich with displays of fresh fruits and vegetables. The following day, we get to discover the Portuguese Riviera, and we explore the picture-perfect town of Obidos, which is on the Atlantic coast of Portugal. This one is about an hour drive from Lisbon, but it's a medieval town. Again, narrow streets and alleys, whitewashed houses, lots of Portuguese handicrafts. So this is a perfect time for you to buy your souvenirs. They have embroideries and ceramics, and of course the famous sweet cherry liquor, which you could bring back. So then we continue on to Sintra, which is again another UNESCO Heritage World Site, about 25 minutes from Lisbon on a mountain on the coastline. And it was the favorite summer residence of Portuguese kings for about 6 centuries. And here you have, again, a choice. You can either do free time in Sintra, or you can do a tour of the National Palace. And this is fantastic because you do the free time in Sintra, which is, your hilltop village. You can explore independently. There's lots of winding streets lined with cork products and pastries, which are my favorite. Or you can do the National Palace of Sintra. And this one dates back to about 1,000 years. We then end our tour, and it seems very fast, but there's so much to pack in. And I don't want to talk about the whole tour and give too much away, otherwise you won't have anything to appreciate when you're there, but I wanted to give you a few highlights. So here you finish in Cascais and you have your farewell dinner with all of your fellow people that you've met on the tour, maybe exchange details of how to contact each other, maybe exchange pictures, and you have this fantastic farewell dinner with all of the people and of course your fantastic tour director. It is an amazing trip. I would suggest talking to Judith about it, but you can join us on this tour, but we also have the option to extend your stay. So you can extend your stay and do Madeira Island, which is a post-tour extension. It is hosted. It's 5 days, 5 meals, and it's a subtropical climate and has majestic mountain ranges and, of course, volcanic caves. And you fly to Madeira Island, which is the pearl of the Atlantic, and you arrive in the early afternoon after some free time for lunch on your own. And you visit the botanical gardens of Madeira with its vast collection of more than about 2,500 plants from all countries. So beautiful, beautiful place to visit. And then you have, after that, the day is yours in Funchal, which is day 11, your day at leisure. So maybe you choose to visit the Sacred Art Museum, or maybe you just want to relax and appreciate all the amenities at your hotel. We then, on day 12, begin the day with a tour that will take us to the Camara de Lobos, which is a traditional village with a picture-perfect bay that served as a special retreat for Sir Winston Churchill. And he actually did some really famous paintings. He was an amateur painter, but he was so captivated by the beauty of Madeira that a lot of his paintings are of this destination. We also get to visit a sugar mill and learn about the importance of sugarcane production to the island in the early 15th century. And we get to sample some of the local specialties made at the mill. And then we head to the village of Porto Moniz, which is a fishing village, and we can enjoy some free time, maybe for a swim. Don't forget to bring your bathing suit in the volcanic pools before returning to Funchal. So we board our flight, return to the metropolitan energy of Lisbon, and then you can enjoy the remainder of the tour, the remainder of the day at leisure before the next day you head back to Canada and leave with Portugal in your heart and maybe some really neat souvenirs. So with this tour, it is air inclusive, and with our groups, we like to do a hometown pickup. So there'll be a designated place where you'll be picked up and taken to the airport. We are the only company that does this, and it makes it really easy to leave the hassle of trying to get to the airport on your own, figuring out where you're going to park, how much you're going to pay. And that's why we say day one is always the time that you leave your house, because we like to include this hometown pickup. You can also personalize your adventure. You can include elite airfare, such as business class, premium class. There's lots of different dining experiences. The optional excursions, which of course we do have on offer, not too many because we do include quite a lot. We have our pre-nights, we have our post-nights, and of course we have tour extensions. But the other thing I wanted to talk about is we have some great travel protection. Our insurance It's probably the best in Canada. It's one flat price, and it's the same price as whether or not you're 20 or you're 80. And there's no medical questionnaire required. It means that you can get a full refund for cancellation at any time for any reason prior to the day of departure. One of my colleagues likes to say, hey, if your cat has a bad hair day, you can cancel. I hope you don't need to. I hope you get to experience this tour because I think it's really, really amazing. And the fact that Judith has curated this and wants to bring all of these people along, again, it's first come, first serve. So please make sure you make your interest known as soon as I'm done this presentation. But you are covered on tour, whether it's medical assistance, evacuation, baggage loss, or delay. And as soon as you start traveling with Colette, you become part of our Passport Club. And it's a new reward and benefits each time you travel with us. And it's a loyalty program. So basically, the more you travel, the more benefits that you receive. So as we know, Europe is a fantastic destination to visit, but they do require a travel authorization. So ETIAS is an electronic travel authorization, also known as a visa waiver, and you will need this for Portugal. So eligible travelers can visit the Schengen area for up to 90 days per 180-day period, and it's about €7, so it's not very much. So please make sure that you do have that and do speak to Judith about it if you have any questions. So we have a great group webpage that Judith will share with you where you can request more info or sign up. It's very easy to be able to book this tour and place the deposit. Deposit is $698 a person due upon booking. The due date for deposit is May 10th, 2025, and it's $698 plus the $599 for the cancel for any reason insurance. Final payment is due on August 11th, and it is $4,479 per person based on double. And again, the $599 personal insurance. This includes round trip group transfer to and from hometown, round trip airfare, including taxes, airport hotel transfers, hotels and porterage, and of course, all the itinerary inclusions and your fantastic tour manager. So just to whet your palate, I'm going to show you a little video about Colette.
How many times have you told yourself, someday you'll travel to that special place? The place you've spoken about, dreamed about. It's so close, you can almost feel it. The warmth of the sun, the sound of music you've never heard before, the discovery of a new flavor. Today isn't like any other day. Today is the day where you set off for new horizons. Stop waiting for the perfect time and make this time perfect. This is your trip of a lifetime. Someday you'll travel to that special place. Your someday is here.
I love that video because it displays so many different destinations that are really unique and lots of really great curated destinations that we have with Colette. Sunny Portugal is definitely the destination that everybody wants to get to. I can tell you it's about -5 right now as I'm recording this, and I would really love to be in a destination that has lots of sun, especially Portugal right now. But if you have any questions, please do reach out to Judith. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope to hear all about your tour when you get back. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Okay, so we are going to take some time now for questions. And before we do that, let me stop sharing the screen there so we can see one another. I did want to, let's go through the quiz that we did at the beginning and see who got the right answers, okay? But I did want to point out a couple of things that Heidi just said in her video that there's a little bit of a discrepancy. She mentioned that there's a web page. Near the end, she said, here's the web page. We're not using that one. We are actually using the website wiredfortravel.com, and you'll see a little scrolling icon that says Sunny Portugal. That's where you can either sign up for the trip there, or you can just shoot me an email and let me know, and I'll send you the form necessary. So we're using that. And then also she said deposits are due May 10th. And what she meant by that is it's closing off on May 10th. We have until May 10th to for anybody to join. However, I really believe that the space is going to be full far before that, because one of the things I wanted to mention about this tour is that we do not have the whole coach. So this isn't like a private tour where we're our own group of people. The group of 37, we are only going to be 20 in that. So I've only secured 20 seats. And I can possibly get more if it fills up that fast, but I don't think the 20 seats are going to last till May 10th. So I just wanted to clarify that as well with you. So let's just look at that little that questionnaire, if I still have it. Yeah, I think here it is. Oh, no, where did it go? Poll. Okay, I'll just bring it up again. Okay, so the first question was how many of you have been to Portugal? And I think we had, we had 9 of you. So 75% have been to Portugal. That's great. I know have not been, sorry, 75 had not been to Portugal. That's even better. Okay, and the flight to Portugal is how long? Now, Aaron said that flight time in his little presentation, but I really think he was wrong because I don't think it was that far. The choices were 8 hours, 2 hours, and 6 hours. And if you said 6 hours, you are correct. It's a very short flight in comparison. Like when I fly to Vancouver, it's a 5-hour flight, 5 plus. So really, it's very manageable, and we are going to be flying at night. So you want to try and get a couple of hours sleep on that flight because when we arrive, it'll be morning there. How many days of sunshine a year does Portugal enjoy? And I think it might have been alluded to, but I don't think anybody mentioned it. But the answers were either 300, 220, or 180. And if you said 300, you are correct. So only 65 days of the year where it's not sunny. Portugal, that's why sun is always associated with Portugal, and also warm weather. It's very temperate climate there, even in the wintertime. When I was there, it was in November, and there was most days where in the afternoon we were just wearing short sleeves. And actually, I was there at the end of November. How long is the coastline of Portugal? So if you said 50 miles, you were not correct. The other answers were over 1,000 miles and 750 miles. And the correct answer is over 1,000 miles. It's a very long coastline, but it goes in and out. There's lots of inlets, so that's why it doesn't seem that long when you look at it. And then what's the weather like in early November in Portugal? Is it freezing rain with a chance of snow? No, not at all. Daytime highs of 25 to 30? No, not that hot in November. If you went in the summer, yes, definitely you would get some very warm weather then. But we are going to be experiencing daytime highs of 17 to 20 degrees Celsius. So those are awesome temperatures. And I guess it allowed me to share the results. So are you seeing that on your screen? Are you seeing the results? Because it says share results, but I'm not seeing what you're seeing. So you're probably seeing just the correct answers or the percentage of correct answers. I'll have to practice with that and have 2 screens going so I can see what's going on the screen. So let's open it up now for questions. And then after we have questions, we're going to do a little prize giveaway. Who has a question? I'll let you go ahead and unmute yourself. Feel free to unmute yourself and also turn on your camera so we can see you. And I did want
Oh,
to know a few
sure.
of you had to jump on or jump off or got booted off or whatever. So this because we're recording, I will send you a copy of the recording if you missed some of it. So don't worry about that. Yeah, sorry, Joan, did you have a question?
Oh, yeah. I was reading something and they said something about capris that well, it wasn't, they didn't really say that you could wear them. Is that true?
Oh,
I mean, if that's the weather, I would be wearing capris instead of blue jeans or something.
yeah, I mean, I would definitely bring a pair of capris. It's definitely not frowned on at all.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If that's what you're comfortable in 17 to 20 degree weather, I would definitely bring those. The dress code for this is very casual. We aren't going to be having any formal dinners. Even when we go out, if you choose to do the Fado dinner in Lisbon, it's still very casual. I mean, you wouldn't you're not going to wear your sweatpants, but you don't have to dress formally at all. Any other questions? You can either put it in the chat box or you can, there's a little icon at the bottom um, where you can raise your hand if you want, or you just unmute yourself and ask. Oh, okay, yes. Mary asked about the visa, the ATS visa. So this is something new for Europe, where if you're a Canadian visiting Europe, you have to fill out this application. And like she said, it's only about $7. We don't have to worry about that until I would say September. So if you do register for the tour, we won't even it's not a big deal. I can help you to fill out the application. It's basically a form you fill out to say that you are visiting and you have to give your um, all your contact information, your passport information, your flight information, what day you're coming back out of the country. And then once you submit that form electronically, with your $7 payment, then they send you a visa. You print it off and just keep it with your passport for when you check in, when we go through passport control in Portugal. So I would not even don't even worry about it right now. It's not a big deal, but it's something new. So I think that's why Heidi mentioned it. Yeah, so would there be a way to upgrade flights with Aeroplan points? Wow, that's a great question. We're actually right in the middle right now of finalizing the air because airlines don't publish their schedule or their rates until 11 months prior to departure. So we're kind of right at that spot right now. And I'm not positive that Air Canada is going to be our carrier. However, I'm hoping that they will be. Um, but as far as upgrading with Aeroplan points, I don't think you can, only because it's group space. Um, what you might, let me think how we can do it. What you might be able to do though is use your Aeroplan points to purchase an Air Canada gift card. And then when it comes time to put the payment through for the air portion, then you can use that. But let's talk about that later when we figure out if Air Canada is going to be our carrier. That's a good question.
Judith?
One of the things that Heidi mentioned is she talked about a tour director. And I just want you to know I am not going to be the tour director. We actually are going to have someone who is an employee of Colette, and they will be our tour director from start to finish. They will welcome us at the airport when we arrive, and they will be there to see us off at the airport when we're done. And that person will be the expert for the hotels, all the places where we're going. They're going to be talking to us throughout the tour about things. They're going to help give suggestions for restaurants to visit. The tour director is a really invaluable person to have on the tour. And that's one of the reasons I really love Colette, because they always have very knowledgeable, experienced tour directors. I will be accompanying the tour and I will be along as I would say, your tour host or your escort. But I won't be the expert. But I will be there to, if you have any questions or anything to do with flights or anything like that, any arrangements that need to be made, any help if you fall and or if you get sick and you need to make an insurance claim or something like that, I'll be able to help you with that. We're not going to have anything like that happen on this tour, though. Is there anybody else who had a question? I think someone was just going to say something. Louise.
Yeah, that group. So we're going to be with another group when we travel.
Well, they're not actually a group. This is like one of Colette's regular tours. So there will be singles and couples on the tour as well. But how I wanted to explain it actually was that we are like going to be like a group within that group. So
Okay.
for the 20 of us in our group, like when it's free time, we'll talk about, yeah, who wants to do this, who wants to do that. We'll probably do group dinners. We'll be able to sit together, well, any night at dinner, but on the included dinners and lunches, we can be together. Basically, we're going to have opportunities on this tour to do things on our own as a group within that group. I will say that I think actually Trish is on the call tonight, and Trish is one of my associates too, and she just in September was in Britain doing a tour with Colette. It was called British Highlights or Highlights of Britain. Oh, British Landscapes, it was called. And they were a group of 10. And so it worked really well for them because the 10 of them did things in the evening that the rest of the people didn't do. So Trish arranged for special events and special things to go on. So that's what we're going to end up doing on our tour as well. So even though we will be all together with everybody on the coach, it'll still be like it's our own tour. And I mean, of course, we're not going to ostracize ourselves from other people. You're welcome to get to know other people because I think as far as Colette is concerned, most of their travelers are from Canada and the US, and some maybe a few from the UK, but most of them I would say are from Canada and the US.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, she mentioned being picked up at your house to go to the airport.
Yeah. Okay. So for groups, they call it hometown pickup. Normally, with you booked on a Colette tour, like just yourself or with another person, they actually do door-to-door sedan service. So they do pick you up at your home and take you to the airport. What they do with groups, because there's so many people and we're all living in different places, is they have one central pickup location. So depending on where everyone's from, is where the pickup location will be. So if the majority of us are from the Aurelia or Barrie area, we'll choose a location that's there. And so far it's the majority are from that area. But if that's how it works out, just because I'm from Aurelia and I know some of you on the call are, we'll choose a location and they will come and pick us up there in a like a mini bus type coach, small coach, and they will take us to the airport. Then they'll bring us back and drop us off there. So you can just get somebody to come and pick you up there, or drop you off, so you don't have to leave your car there. That's a huge value. That's actually, when I've arranged transportation to the airport, or if you've ever arranged it through like Simcoe County or whatever, it's usually over $100 to get picked up from our area anyway, to the airport. So they're giving us that both ways. If you're not from the area that ends up being where the hometown pickup is, Colette is going to give you a credit for that. So not to worry if you aren't able to take advantage of it, you'll just get a credit. I did want to mention one more thing too, and that is that the price that is mentioned on my website and also that Heidi showed on the screen tonight is $44.79 double occupancy. So that's if you share with somebody. If you don't have somebody to share with, you can just let me know. And as we go along, I'm sure there's going to be other people who want to share with somebody else. And so I'll match you up with somebody. And that usually works out really well. Or you can have single occupancy and pay a single supplement. But I did want to mention that at the end of December, that 44.79 is going up to 45.79, because one of the things that I found out today is as it's getting close to getting the air, the price for air has gone up by $100. So we're going to honor the current price till the end of December, and then come January, if you book your spot after January 1st, it'll be $100 more to cover that extra cost for the air. So that's kind of another reason why you want to let me know before the end of December if you're going to join us. Any other questions, or are you just waiting patiently to see if we're gonna what the prizes are? Going once? Oh, Christiane, it says your website mentions the insurance is $4.99, but the screen says $5.99. That's very interesting. Let me just look at that. I just got the flyer here that Colette gave me too. I'll look at that. I think well, I can tell you what the people who have paid so far who've signed up. But it is $5.99. So I'm wondering if $4.99 was the price without air. So I will check that and correct it if I think it should be $5.99. I actually just booked somebody on a call-out tour today to Europe, and it was $5.99. So I believe $5.99 is the correct price. It's still the lowest price around. If you went and got insurance that included medical, cancel for any reason, trip cancellation, and trip interruption, it would be much higher than that. And as your age goes up, the cost goes up. Also, it's always based on the trip cost. So you'd probably be looking anywhere north of like $750 for that. Okay. Okay. Somebody asked, are you going to be going to Madeira Island? I'm very interested in going to Madeira. I would love to do that extension. It sounds amazing, and I hadn't really given it much thought. However, three of my colleagues, my associates, just got back from the Azores, and Aaron was one of them. And they raved about it so much. And hearing about the Azores, and which is very close to Madeira Island, Madeira is even farther south, and just hearing about how Madeira Island is so tropical, I would really love to do the extension. So I haven't committed to it yet, but I know for sure one person in our group for sure has already booked Madeira extension. Oh, Mary can't say anything. Her mic doesn't work. Okay, sorry about that, Mary. That the chat box is fine. Okay, if you don't have any questions, if you do, just save it to the end. But I think what we're going to do now is we are going to do our wheel of prizes. And so let me get the screen up. Here we go. And I'll tell you what the actually, you know what? I got to stop it because I'm not sure if I want to make sure I'm getting the right screen. When I do this, can you see me on the screen? Let me see. Okay, yes, you can. Let's see. Okay, we'll do this. Okay. Before I don't think you were seeing me on it. Okay, so the first prize that we're going to give away tonight is an Air Canada crossbody bag. So it's got the Air Canada logo on it. It's when you open it up, it's got a little pouch on one side, a big pouch, and then on the other side, it's got a divided pouch inside. So there's lots of little compartments for you to keep things. So that's very handy for traveling. And let's see who is going to win the pouch. Stephanie, congratulations. I need to write your name down so I don't forget. Okay, Stephanie is getting the Air Canada crossbody bag. We're going to take your name out so you can't win another prize. Okay, the next prize we're going to give away is actually, I was just on a river cruise at the beginning of November with Avalon Waterways. And so I got this to give away, and it's a backpack that folds up into a really nice pouch. So it's great for packing so that you can take it later. And it opens up into a great backpack. So this will be really handy for a trip as well. So let's see who wins this. Okay. Deborah, congratulations. I will get this to you somehow. I won't be mailing it by Canada Post, but I will get it to you. Okay. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to give away is actually also from Avalon. And it is a really nice water bottle. Take it out of the packaging here. So it actually has the Avalon logo on it, but it's got a really nice like wooden top. It's got a handle and a screw cap. It's very watertight, black. I think you'll really enjoy it. I got this as an extra one so that I could give it away. Let's see who the winner is. Stephanie. Okay, I just realized we've got two Stephanies on the call tonight. Okay, so this was Stephanie Lake. So we've got two winners named Stephanie. Wow. It pays to have the name Stephanie tonight. Okay, and our last prize that we're going to give away is a $10 Tim's card. For those mornings when you just have to have a coffee as you're on your way somewhere, maybe when you're on the way to the airport, when you're in the airport. Mary. Okay, Mary, I will get that to you as well. I'm not sure where you live, but I will make sure I get it to you. And I know you can't use your microphone, but I know you're here. So, okay, well, thank you so much. And congratulations to the winners. And if anybody, yeah, Barb, you keep getting cut off. I'm not sure why that was happening. I guess, I don't know if it was a Zoom thing or an internet thing for you or what. Sorry about that, but you can watch the recording if there's anything that you missed. Okay, did anybody think of any questions while we were doing that? Don't see any hands. Okay, so next steps. What do you need to do to sign up for the tour? First of all, you can email me. You've got my email address, so that's really easy if you want to do that. Or you can go on to when you're on the website, it just says click here if you're interested in this tour. That'll send me a contact form right away, and I can send you the forms to fill out, which I'm going to do if you email me. I'll be sending you a form as well. And if you have anything like food allergies, sensitivities, or special requests, you can let me know on that form as well. There's a spot for that. And basically that's it. All I need from you is a deposit. And the deposit is $698. And then the travel protection is $599. I actually did write it down. So it's $698 plus $599 is what you need, because you need to put the travel protection on right when you book your trip so that you're protected right from day one. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. And I hope to hear from all of you in the next few days. I would love to have all of you join me on this tour. It's going to be an amazing tour, and I really want you to experience Portugal. So whether it's on this tour or at another time, really keep Portugal in your sights and keep it on that list. But let's check it off the list by going on this tour together. Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.